and get the tickets at the Little Creek Casino box office. Howie Mandel, good morning. Welcome back to the Bob Rivers Show.
Good morning. Apparently there's nothing else to talk about. You've given all the information.
That's it.
Plus my job. Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
All right, this was great. You know what? Actually, this is our best interview ever. This is Howie Mandel.
Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Howie, I did have one thing to ask you about. I was imagining you watching Canada beat the U.S. in the Olympics. Were you watching the game in hockey?
I could not be watching the game because we were in the midst. We've already started shooting America's Got Talent during the game. But I was following it intently on Twitter and was basking in the glory. For me, it was a win-win. Whether it's the United States, I have a dual citizenship.
Right.
I'm really a member of both teams, and my kids are American. I live in America, but I think most of the NHL and hockey players, even down here in the States, are Canadian anyhow. So
yeah, I mean, hockey is Canada's sport. So you were if you give it a preferred, like you always say, if you're having a kid, I don't care if it's a boy or a girl, but you sort of wish it's a boy. So if you preferred Canada to win.
To be totally honest, and this sounds very un-Canadian, but I can tell you on on an American show, I'm not really a hockey fan.
Oh.
No, I love football, but I'm not a hockey fan. I don't go to hockey games, but it's exciting, the Olympics. But then again, I wasn't a figure skating fan, and I know what a twizzle is.
So you're not a fan of free health care either. That's why you ended up here.
Well, I knew that eventually, someday, it may end up that way.
Yeah.
If you needed a knee, would you go here or would you go to Canada? I assume, a guy with your money, you can go here easily. But as a dual citizen, say you're a milk truck driver or something living in L.A., but you're a dual citizen, can you go back to Canada and get a knee?
No, I can't because I don't spend enough time there to partake of their medical fruits.
Mm-hmm.
So all my hypochondria is serviced here.
Wow. That can't be cheap.
And how he's doing okay. He doesn't have to worry about the deductible or the copay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You mentioned you're into football. So be honest with us. We're here in Seattle. You're coming up here.
I know you're a Seahawk.
But I mean, be honest. Were you like everybody else in the media saying, I expect Peyton Manning to win?
No, I wasn't like everybody else in the media, and I wouldn't expect what I saw. But no is the answer to that. Is no, and that game I did watch.
All right, and did you watch to the end, or did you say, "Oh, this is boring"?
Did you like all Bronco fans?
Yeah.
I've actually been to a game there in Seattle at the stadium, and it's one of the most beautiful stadiums I've ever been to. That view out past the goal line to the skyline is amazing.
It is. So Howie, just reading your intro, you said I put everything in there. You do so many things. You have all these things going at once. And you're also lately, I noticed, you're talking a little bit about healthcare and kids and ADHD and OCD and how that we should do more for kids. And you have a lot going on at once. Is there one thing, what's the biggest thing, and why do you keep all of these things? Is it just because you're afraid maybe you got something to fall back on? Jay Leno used to always say that.
No. Well, first of all, stand-up comedy is my home and where I started. And come see me this Sunday, 5 or 8 o'clock at the casino. And don't bring a kid. It's not a lot of these shows that you mentioned are family shows. My stand-up is not a family show. I'll never give up stand-up. And right now what I've really been spending time on is working on a show called Deal With It, which is on PBS and comes back March 19th.
Right.
And that's a blast. That I produce, I appear in. But so do the Jenner girls and Heidi Klum and Orlando Jones and Nick Cannon, and that's like a hidden camera game show, which has turned out to be the most fun thing that I'm doing at the moment. Where people, we got these cameras and microphones hidden in restaurants, and when people come and sit down, we could kind of overhear who they are and what they're saying. So I know somebody's there with their daughter or their boss. We pull one away under the guise of, having them fill out a survey so they can have a free lunch. And then in the back, we tell them, you can win money if you're willing to play a game, and usually they are. We put an earpiece in, and we have celebrities tell them what to do. Very embarrassing thing. If somebody's sitting there with their daughter, we'll say, for $1,000, tell your daughter you're leaving her mother for another man. And watch the reactions and that show's coming back March 19th. I've been tweeting about it.
Right.
I'll tweet live during the show at Howie Mandel. Spread the word, everybody.
All right. Now, I'm curious about that. When you do that, does the restaurant know?
No.
That's what
The owners obviously, allowed us to put the microphones and cameras up. They're all hidden. The other patrons don't know, so they're doing it in a real public setting, so nobody else knows. We'll hire an actor here and there to maybe be the waiter, or sometimes the waiter doesn't know, and we'll ask them to do things for the waiter or other patrons. For $200, they see the people at the next table, they're eating chocolate cake. Walk over there and just plunk your face into the chocolate cake.
So
for $200.
I read that one of the restaurants is suing you or upset or something. How could they complain if they said it was okay to do?
Because that guy, I don't know. I'm not allowed to comment.
Okay, fair enough. If I gave you $200, we comment right now? How about $1,000?
If you pay for the lawyer, I'll comment.
Not a shot.
Okay. No, that's going to run into some serious
I'd rather
money.
pay for your new knee.
It does seem great publicity for the show and the restaurant. I mean,
I'd rather not have a lawsuit, but
fair enough.
You know about it, so that's good. So
It's
watch that March 19th.
All right.
See, it's probably just that he wants more people to know about his restaurant as opposed to it's just an episode March 19th, right?
Yeah. And this guy, he becomes like the Moroccan food Nazi. It's like the soup Nazi in New York. And
Joey's got a lawyer. Shut
people
up.
would go to his restaurant just to meet the guy who, got all upset.
Oh, well, I hope he does very well.
You're awesome.
Hey, Howie, you have a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I saw a picture of you with that. You look so happy, but you also have a star on the Canada Walk of Fame. And,
yes, I do.
And now in Hollywood, I remember when Scotty had a star, they actually charge you. You have to pay for your own star. Is that right?
No, I didn't pay for it. I don't know how it works, but I mean, it does cost money, but not. I don't think people buy their own stars, do they?
Well,
I don't.
James
I don't
said, yeah.
Some people, if they're not doing well, they had to raise money for a star. I heard, but
really,
yeah,
I don't know anything about that, and I didn't pay for the star. I mean, I could think of better ways to.
Are you lawyered up about the star thing too, Howie?
You're right. Right.
All right.
Well, if I was paying for the star, I wish I hadn't paid for the star, and I could pay for my lawyer to defend myself against the restaurant.
Now I want to ask you one serious thing, because I read this. You're very open and honest, and you've joked all along about like hand sanitizer, the thing you did with Leno. It was funny, but you also talk about how kids don't get enough help for things like ADHD and OCD, and people walk around. Then maybe they could. Like what should happen that's not happening?
Well, it's not only about kids. It's just that, and I've noticed since I've been open about my mental health issues, is that nobody, really takes care of their mental health. There's obviously a stigma involved, and I believe that it should be part of the curriculum. Just like when you take a kid to a dentist, we take care of dental health. We don't take care of mental health. And if you look at what's happening in our society today, and it's not necessarily OCD or anything like that, nobody has any coping skills, and we're not raising any flags early in people's lives. These people that walk into Columbine and movie theaters and shoot up, and, obviously there are some signs much earlier in their life. And maybe as a little kid, if there was somebody in place that would just ask them questions, we would know and be able to nip it in the bud before it turns into a catastrophe. And my whole soapbox is that mental health and coping skills should be part of our curriculum, and we all have them, whether it's pressures at work and depression, relationship problems, somebody in the family is diagnosed with a catastrophic illness. Nobody's there to kind of buoy you and tell you how to, cope with these things. And different people who cope with their mental health issues, whether it have a title like OCD or ADHD, have different ways of venting, whether they're self-medicating and there's drug use and crime. I just think that mental health is the answer to so many of the problems we have in today's society.
How many acronyms? Do you think you have?
I'd like to buy a vowel.
You mentioned coping skills. So that's kind of interesting because you don't actually change. You don't lose your OCD, right? You just figure out different ways to deal with it.
Yes, I'm medicated, but deal with it is what everybody has to do in life. There isn't anybody that goes through life, or escapes, tough times and hard times. And there are, professionals that could help you cope with things easier, and there is a direct correlation between mental health and physical health.
It's funny because we go to the doctor once a year for a physical just to check things out. We go to the dentist usually twice a year, even though nothing's bothering us and things are perfectly normal. Maybe it would be a thought to just go to a professional once a year to sit down for a half an hour to chat with them as part of your copay and your regular health plan.
Hello.
Yeah,
exactly what I'm talking about, or even just have it in place in the curriculum in school. You have a school nurse. Why isn't there somebody that's trained, like a teacher, that can identify that maybe somebody's going or slipping and not having an easy time with it, especially in this day and age when people, children are coming from, single-parent homes. There's things happening, all around them, and I don't know how they're coping with what they're seeing in the media. And, they may be going off the rails, and nobody's there to answer, and nobody's there to, to tell them that, hey, maybe it would be easier if you tried it this way, and things in our society would change. I think mental health is the answer to almost everything, every problem we have.